Let me take you on an adventure to Dorset Durdledore Beach, which is where I am right now, right behind me. Soon got water truck just hydrating the field.
Thank you, Zen, on this pleasant Dorset spring day, and welcome to our tanks in action display. Right, that's all the boring stuff. On with the display.
Here we go.
The vehicles are going to move off onto the arena. As I said, these are different types of vehicles. So first up is a Ferret Scout car, British Army Scout car, post World War II. After that is a Saladin armoured car, and then the green and black beastie behind them is an FP432. That is armoured personnel carrier. And then finally, last in the rake is a tank. It is Leopard 1 tank. Western German, pointless tank. First tank we built for the West German Army, post World War II. today I'm going to do around the arena, so where you're by. And then one thing I have learned in a number of years doing this job, don't try and talk when there's a main battle tank passing, because nobody will hear a blind word. Well, I would have to say, I think the Leopard 1 tank, I think that's the best sounding tank out. A lovely, round third. So, Ferret is going to come round so we can take a look at it. As you can see, relatively small vehicle, it's what we call a recon vehicle, reconnaissance vehicle. Reconnaissance is all about going to see what the enemy is up to. So a lot of this is these days. Back in the day, it was down to Mark 1 eyeball and a set of binoculars. Now, the whole thing about a recon vehicle is it needs to be relatively stealthy, it needs to have all-terrain performance, and it needs to be relatively fast as well. The whole idea about recce is go and take a look, radio back what you've seen, and then get out of there. Frankly, if you're in a reconnaissance vehicle, you've got rounds clanking off the outside, you've done something fairly badly wrong. The Ferret is quite a small vehicle. It's got a two-man crew, so you've got the commander and then the driver. Monocoque construction, so it's a little bit mine-proof if you're lucky. The armour is very light. It's only really designed to keep out small arms fire. But as I said, the idea is don't get shot at if you can possibly avoid it. In that traversable turret, you have a general-purpose machine gun, but that is really just to give the crew a bit of confidence, possibly a bit of fire support if they need to. Now, one thing about the Ferret you'll see is it's got quite an unusual camouflage scheme. Now, normally we tend to paint things black or green or sand colour. This is a camouflage scheme. We call it the Berlin camouflage scheme. It was devised by a cavalry officer, Major Pendant Dorks, who was commanding an independent squadron in Berlin back in the Cold War days. And he realised that his chieftains painted black and green, 60 tons of metal sticks out of it in a town. So he thought, what can I do about that? And what he did was to come up with this scheme. Blocks of pastel shades, and what it does is to break up the outline. Straight lines, pastel colours, it actually blends things into an urban environment. So any of you who have that rather, well, they do make an urban camouflage that some people wear. This is the first version of it that was applied to vehicles. On the front, you have got a pair of sand planks, pierced steel planks so you can get out of deep mud. And it is a wheeled vehicle. That's got the advantage over tracks in that it is relatively quiet. And what I said about reconnaissance, only the enemy in front, reconnaissance vehicles need to be quite stealthy. So that's the Ferret Scout car, a British vehicle that came in the 1950s, and it was in service right the way through into the 1990s. Very good little vehicle. What we have is the Ferret Scout car. This is an armoured car. Six-wheeler, all-wheel drive, very good cross-country, and it can perform the reconnaissance role. You can see there's a couple of radio aerials sticking up there, but it's got a bit more poke to it. It's got a 76mm smoothbore gun, so it can perform screening duties, and that gun fires a reasonably good high explosive round, so it can provide a bit of fire support, particularly if the infantry are moving forward. Very much liked by its crews, soldiers who served in it. Three-man crew in this one, so you have got driver, a commander and a gunner. And the gunner has the 76 and there is a Browning 30 cal next. On the side of the turret, those two little fixtures are multi-bank smoke grenade launchers. So 6 white phosphorus grenades. If you need to, you can drop those in front of yourself and provide a smoke screen so you can retire behind it. Again, the armour is not very thick, it will keep out small arms fire, that's just about it. So it is pretty well a question of try not to get shot at too much. One other thing about it I will mention is as you go around you can see there are a pair of eyes and plates on the front. That is a traditional Royal Tank Regiment. Goes back to the First World War. A Chinese businessman donated money to the Tank Corps to buy a Mark IV tank. And he said, well, my ships, the ships that carry my goods, I've got eyes on the front. It's so they can see where they're going. You'd better paint eyes on your tank. That way you can do the same thing. And that's been the Royal Tank Regiment tradition ever since the First World War. So that is the Saladin Scout Car.
Here he comes. So take a look at this one, folks. 6-wheeler.
First of the tracked vehicles, but this is an APC, so on the time, ever since practically World War I in fact, that tanks and infantry need to operate together. Tanks can do what they do, they can advance fast, they can take ground, but if you've got infantrymen, this has been shown, or most recently I suppose in Ukraine, if you've got infantrymen hiding in a hedge with Envor or a javelin, he will scuff the paintwork on your tanks for you. So you need infantry to work with the tanks to solve that problem. Coming up behind, we have gentlemen of the Bovington Rifle Volunteers climbing aboard. The 432 is a very simple vehicle. It's a steel box on tracks, but it does have bench seats in the back, so that will take a full infantry section. And in the top there is what we call a mortar hatch. So you can set up an 81mm mortar there in order to provide fire support. One last thing, how does a tracked vehicle actually work? A lot of people think, well, you can take the tracks off and it will roll along on its wheels. It won't go anywhere. There are only 2 wheels, one pair of wheels that's actually powered, that's attached to the engine. And those, the front of this vehicle, they're called the sprocket wheels. Sprocket wheels take power from the engine, the tracks, and what a tank is effectively doing is laying a trackway, the actual tracks themselves, and then pulling herself along it. So if you go and have a look at any of the vehicles in the museum, somewhere you'll find one pair of wheels with teeth on. They're called the sprocket wheels, and that's basically how it makes the thing work. Not a very romantic name, FV432. FV just stands for fighting vehicle. And as it goes round, you see there's the big back door. Leopard 1. These days we've got Leopard 2, we're working on Leopard 3. This is the first tank that was actually built specifically for the Bundeswehr, the post-World War II German army. And it is very good indeed. It's got a 105mm gun, it's a turret, very effective weapon. It's actually a British design L7 gun. Weighs around about 40 tons. And it has got a crew of 4. In the turret, you will have the commander, the loader, and the gunner. And then down at the front, you can see his head sticking up. There is the driver. So 3 turret crew and 1 crewman told to drive the thing. When you think about a tank, there's an equation you've got to look at to get things right. And it's what we call the iron triangle. So three things: armour protection, firepower, and that gun is pointed straight at my nose at the moment, and mobility. And you've got to get those in proportion so the thing will work. The British Army in this period, we had something called chieftain. And we thought, well, a tank needs to take a great deal of punishment and also ditch it out as well. So chieftain is very heavily armoured, weighs about 20 tonnes more than this particular vehicle, and a very powerful 120mm gun. West Germans were thinking a bit differently. They thought, well, hang on, tank munitions are so effective these days, it doesn't matter how much armour you stick on the thing, it will still get pounded and strapped. We want more mobility, we want more speed. So they've kept the weights down, and it has upped the speed. The Leopard is very nimble. The Leopard is about 15 miles an hour faster than a Chieftain. So, as I said, you've got to get the three elements of the armour triangle, iron triangle, in proportion, depending on how you think the tank is going to react. This particular Leopard all stacked up together, ready to go in order of march. Now, as I said, you probably haven't been looking at newspapers, television, anything like that. We have a bit of trouble, a bit of bother in this part of the world. That chap there, that nasty creature who's just emerged from his lair, firing a bazooka, he is a wolf. Wolf Liberation Front. They are a nasty, nasty bunch, and they're out to cause trouble. As you can see, he's had a pop at the Leopard. Fortunately, heavy armour hasn't caused much damage. So the Leopard's okay, but we're going to have to sort these people out. Now, probably we don't know how many of them are around, and we don't know what they've got in the way of assets. So we've seen him, nasty looking creature, dressed all in black. Rumour has it they've got some vehicles. They might even have a tank of their own. And I can hear something coming down the side of the boat. There it is, flying the wolf flag. Oh, this is a bit serious. They've got themselves a desert warrior. Warrior is an infantry fighting vehicle. So it's fast, it's mean, it's armed with a 30mm Barton cannon. Don't know where they've got it from, but that could cause us some trouble. Now, the guy on the ground is sticking their horrible flag up. We can't have that. This isn't his territory. You tell him to push off. Get off our land, you horrible creature. There's more in the vehicle coming round, pouring the warrior. Give them a boo as they go past. You horrible lot, get off our land.
So this is
What
the
a
end.
horrible screw. How many penalties 95 will do? Now we can't let this go unchallenged. We need to get our vehicles out there, our infantry on the ground, sort these characters out. So to start off with, we're sending out recce units. So you can see the ferret and the saladin coming round. We need to assess what these people are up to, what their intentions are, evil no doubt, and we need to do something about it. So the ferret is parked up, the commander of the ferret is radioing back instructions, and we need to get the rest of our forces on the ground. Now, if you look round to the other side of the arena, the FV432, that's the armoured personnel carrier, has parked up, and the infantry are debussing. So they're piling out that big back door, and they're getting into position.
Whoa.
We are getting shot at. That was another bazooka round. It's hit his saladin. Doesn't seem to have done much damage. So we've got to give these people, teach them a lesson. We're going to drop a few mortar rounds in to soften them up to start with. Also lay some smoke so that our infantry can advance behind us.
They're really blowing
Fire
up.
dropping in. The other is chucking a few smoke grenades as well. All rounds dropping in, getting closer. Soften them up. Now it's time for our heavy armour to come in on the act.
Oh.
And the leopard is moving round. Maneuvering for a shot. We need to take out that warrior. To do that, it'll be game over to the walls.
Oh, here he comes. Whoa!
Fire, hit. And that has knocked out the warrior. Their armour is immobilised. Our infantry are coming forward. Fire move, or we will pepper potting, we'll do it like that. So, two fire teams, Charlie and Delta. One provides covering fire, the other goes forward. They are closing quite rapidly. There's machine gun fire coming from the wolf position. Not very accurate by the look of it. Our infantry are going to storm the position. In they go. He's obviously outnumbered. No fighting in at all. He's got his hands up. Their horrible flag is down. And that's it. That is game over for the Wolves. Ladies and gents, you all sleep safely in your beds.
Wow.
Looks like the warrior is brewing up properly. I'm not sure what that white flag is that he's waving, but I wouldn't care to go too near it personally.
I don't know what the guy's doing.
So that's it. The wolves are defeated. The danger is over.